morning, good afternoon, good evening. Religion, politics, and the callous heart. It seems Zimbabweans are passionate about their religion, passionate about their politics, and yet it must be said they don't seem to understand neither one of them. They don't even understand the ABC of either one of them. The one burning issue in Zimbabwe politics today is, did Chamisa lie about plugging the vote rigging loopholes and thus con the people to participate in flawed 2023 elections, giving Zanu PF legitimacy and perpetuating the dictatorship? This is at the heart of our politics. Zimbabwe is a failed state because we've been stuck with the same corrupt, incompetent, and tyrannical regime, Zanu PF. But part and parcel of that is we have given Zanu PF legitimacy and perpetuated the dictatorship by participating in flawed elections. Why some people are failing to see the connection there, beggars belief. The denial is unbelievable. So we go back to 2023. Let's deal with this one issue. Did Chamisa lie when he said he had plugged the vote rigging loopholes? Hashtag God is in it. He even evoked the name of God. Why some people have agonized over that? Beggars belief. Just deal with the issue. The issue on the table is, did Chamisa lie? They cannot accept it. They don't want to deal with it. Here is a typical response I got from one of our social media groups when that issue was raised. And in this, Chamisa is saying with his usual self-assured arrogance, musatsamwira kana kuitira hasha munasiriye. Don't be angry and be frustrated by the wrong person. Nelson is not Emerson. Tabati sei papo. You should understand that. In other words, as much as we can say Zanu PF is responsible as the government of the day for the corruption, mismanagement, etc., that is taking place, one cannot also deny that the opposition has played its role in keeping Zanu PF in power. First of all, by failing to implement even one token reform, even when they had the opportunity to do so during the GNU. And now, ever since the GNU, they've been participating in flawed elections, knowing fully well that the process is flawed, knowing fully well that by participating, they'll give Zanu PF legitimacy. So this insistence on Nelson is not Emerson doesn't make any sense. We go back to the original question. Did Chamisa, did you, Chamisa, lie when you said he had implemented the democratic reforms, he had plugged all the vote rigging loopholes to stop Zanu PF rigging the elections? Because that is what made people believe. They believed that, and they participated in the elections on the basis of that. We cannot run away from that. We need to accept that reality and deal with it. We know that Emerson and Nelson are two different things, two different individuals. But you cannot run away from the fact that you lied and conned people to participate in a flawed election. That is the truth. That is the truth that you cannot deny. And you must be held responsible and accountable for it. Here is a video clip of Chamisa in Bere in Harare, doing his usual walkabout. That is all very well. But the question that must be asked to all of these people, did they truly understood that Chamisa lied to them in 2023? That he conned them to participate in flawed elections to give Zanu PF legitimacy, and thus perpetuate their own suffering. Because if they did, they will not be so easily conned into believing Chamisa. Most of these people were aware of what Chamisa was saying in 2023. Here is Chamisa talking about winning the 2023 elections.
Makorokoto Zimbabwe nokuti hakuna munhu anomira kana denga raronga plan. Denga raronga plan, denga harifoiri. Plan yamwari haifoiri. Ini ndatanga kugadzira cabinet. There is no way we are not going to form a new cabinet. There is no way we are not going to have a celebration. There is no way we are not going to have an inauguration. Let's start preparing for our inauguration. Let's start preparing for our celebration.
Well, if the truth be told, he was lying. He knew he was lying. He knew that he was not going to prepare the next cabinet because Zanu PF was rigging those elections. SADC and the AU confirmed those elections were rigged. But they could not go the extra step and deny Zanu PF legitimacy because Chamisa had conned 2 million people to support, to participate in those elections. This is what was the problem. And some of those individuals who participated are back cheering him. They have not held him to account for what he did. They don't even seem to understand what happened. This is the tragedy with Zimbabwe, with Africa as a whole. We are passionate about our religion. We are passionate about our politics. I don't seem to have a clue what is it we want. Here is a quotation from the Bible. The purpose of Jesus' parables. I think this is pertinent in the sense that Jesus might just as well have been talking about Zimbabweans. For this, people's heart has grown callous. They hardly hear with their ears, and they've closed their eyes. It's very true and very tragic that Zimbabweans, we have indeed closed our eyes. We hear, but we do not understand. We see, but we do not even perceive. There is no denying that Chamisa lied. I mean, it is pathetic that we even should be talking about something like that. This is like somebody 7 years in primary school and they're still talking about the letters of the alphabet. We should have been over this and moved on to other things, but we cannot. We have to resolve this issue. Did Chamisa lie, yes or no? And if he did, we should also understand why he lied. What was the consequence of those lying? People believed those lies. They participated in the flawed elections, giving Zanu PF legitimacy and thus perpetuating the dictatorship. Failing to understand that is not going to change anything, because the reality is, it's coming back. He himself claims that he's fired up. He's coming back to tell people the same idiotic lie that he's going to win 2028 and con them to participate in the flawed elections only to perpetuate the dictatorship. They're back to square one. Why people fail to understand that, beggars belief. If people understood that Chamisa is a liar and a con man, they will then understand why we need competent opposition. But as long as they don't understand that, we'll be stuck with the same corrupt, incompetent opposition. And it is the corrupt, incompetent opposition who are enabling Zanu PF to stay in power and perpetuate the dictatorship and the nation's suffering. Can't explain it anymore. That is the reality. We choose to ignore it at our own peril. Religion, politics, and a callous heart. Think about it.